In January 1959, Igor Dyatlov led a team of 9 students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute into the northern mountains. They were experienced mountaineers on the verge of receiving their Grade 3 certification, the highest rank in the Soviet Union. Weeks later, searchers reached the slope of Kholat Syakhl. They found the team's tent collapsed and buried. Its heavy canvas had been slashed open from the inside. Footprints led away from the camp, disappearing into the pitch-black, -30-degree night. They were the tracks of people walking in socks or bare feet. The team had abandoned their heavy coats and boots. In these mountains, leaving your gear in a blizzard is a death sentence. To break that rule, the group had to be running from a threat they believed was more dangerous than the cold. The first 5 bodies were found near the tree line, dead of hypothermia. Some were discovered partially unclothed, a result of paradoxical undressing. This happens when the brain's thermoregulatory center malfunctions, causing freezing victims to feel a false sensation of intense heat and strip off their clothes. But the final 4 hikers were discovered months later, buried in a ravine. Their autopsies revealed catastrophic internal injuries, crushed ribs and a fractured skull. The force required for these injuries matched a high-speed car crash, yet the hikers showed no external skin lacerations or bruises to match the bone trauma underneath. Further testing revealed low levels of radiation on their clothing. In the ravine, investigators found one victim missing her eyes and her tongue. Unable to identify a clear natural cause or a human suspect, the Soviet government closed the case, citing a compelling natural force. That vacuum of information allowed the incident to grow into a global legend. Investigators looked at a potential attack by the local Mansi tribe, but the pristine snow surrounding the camp showed no signs of a struggle or foreign footprints. These lenticular clouds signify intense wind patterns in the Urals. One theory suggested these winds generated infrasound, low-frequency vibrations that can cause shortness of breath and extreme dread. While this explains a panic, sound waves cannot generate the physical force needed to crush human bone. The radioactivity on the clothes pointed some towards secret weapons testing, but the isotopes were consistent with thorium, a material used in the group's camping lanterns. Furthermore, 2 of the hikers had worked in nuclear facilities before the trip. Since violence, panic, and weapons failed to account for the specific forensic evidence, the search for an answer shifted back to the mountain itself. A standard avalanche seemed impossible. The slope was too shallow, and their vertical ski poles were found still standing exactly where they were placed weeks earlier. In 2021, researchers at the ETH Zurich building and EPFL developed a geomechanical model to test a new theory, a localized, delayed slab avalanche. To pitch their tent on the incline, the hikers cut a flat platform into the snow. In doing so, they inadvertently removed the structural support for the heavy layer of snow directly above them. Over the next few hours, katabatic winds swept across the slope. These winds slowly deposited loose snow on the ledge above the camp, gradually increasing the weight on the structural weak point as the group slept. When the ledge finally failed, a block of hardened snow dropped. It crushed the group with the weight of a blunt press, causing internal fractures while the tent's fabric protected their skin. This geomechanical model is the only scenario that accounts for the trauma patterns without leaving the massive debris field of a traditional avalanche. The decision to slash the tent was a rational survival tactic, a desperate exit for a group being buried alive in the dark. In the pitch-black cold, the uninjured hikers pulled their crushed companions from the wreckage. They were effectively blind, working to save their friends. Fearing a second, larger slide, the group retreated toward the trees. Because their boots were trapped under the snow block, they moved barefoot, carrying their dying friends through the waste. The eyes and tongue missing from the ravine victims are the result of 3 months in a running stream. Aquatic decomposition targeted those soft tissues as the bodies lay submerged. The evidence describes a resilient act of human solidarity. The able-bodied members froze to death because they refused to leave their injured companions behind. The Dyatlov Pass incident lived on as a ghost story because uncertainty invited speculation. Today, geomechanics accounts for the specific forensic trail, tracing a brutal chain reaction of weather and topography. Science replaces the myth with a record of their final hours, honoring 9 survivalists who, when the mountain failed, chose to face the cold together.